In the first half of this video, we had spoken about how the temperance movement had led to the period of Prohibition, when the 18th Amendment had enforced a total ban on the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcohol throughout the United States. We're going to speed ahead a bit and actually speak about how Prohibition had led to widespread law-breaking throughout the country. Prohibition eventually led to the rise of a thing called organized crime. Powerful gangsters like Chicago's Al Capone made millions of dollars from bootlegging or producing and selling illegal alcohol. The great demand for alcohol throughout the country allowed for these mob leaders to become so rich and influential that their power was almost limitless. A bootlegger is someone who produces and sells alcohol illegally. Sometimes an inexperienced or unknowledgeable bootlegger would actually produce alcohol that could be especially harmful to one's health. One example of this was bathtub gin, which would be alcohol or liquor that was produced in one's own bathtub. Gangsters and mob leaders like Al Capone used their profits to influence businesses, labor unions, and governments. Many of them became so powerful that they could persuade the police to simply look the other way and ignore their criminal activity. For example, throughout his life, Al Capone successfully got away clean with committing hundreds of crimes. He eventually was sent to jail on something completely not to do with Prohibition. He got caught for tax evasion and not paying his taxes. Let's take a look at some interesting facts about Al Capone. The fact that Capone managed to get away clean with all of his crimes against Prohibition shows you just how organized his criminal activity actually was. Unfortunately, he wasn't as organized with paying his taxes. Over time, Americans started to realize that the noble experiment, as Prohibition was called, had actually failed. Instead of decreasing crime in our country, it actually led to an increase of law-breaking and organized crime throughout the U.S. As a result, Prohibition was repealed in 1933 with the 21st Amendment. It was the only amendment ever passed that overturned an earlier amendment. An amendment is a change to the Constitution. If an amendment is repealed, it means that it is simply done away with or overwritten. So the 21st Amendment did away with that previous 18th Amendment. Since we have a couple of constitutional amendments to be familiar with during our 1920s unit, I have some memory tricks to make it simpler. When it comes to Prohibition amendments, I want you to be thinking, what age can you legally drink in the United States? At what age would you be allowed to drink in the United States? According to the U.S. Constitution, when you are 18 years old, it is illegal to drink alcohol. So the 18th Amendment is the one that says no alcohol. That started Prohibition throughout the United States. When you are 21 years old in the United States, you are legally allowed to drink alcohol. So I want you to remember that the 21st is the one that repeals or does away with Prohibition in the United States. Prohibition is one of the most famous and well-known time periods throughout U.S. history, and there are even a couple of flashbacks that we see on TV, on different commercials, all different types of media outlets. This is a commercial that was aired during the Super Bowl, the most recent Super Bowl, and it actually shows what life had been like at the end of Prohibition. So this is a Budweiser commercial reflecting on life during and after Prohibition. That commercial puts a bit of a humorous spin on what an average town might look like after the 18th Amendment had been repealed with the creation of that 21st Amendment. Now that we know a bit about Prohibition, I would like you to teach me a bit about some interesting facts of this time period. So I'd like you to flip over your notes sheet and actually follow the directions to the website about Prohibition facts. You're going to answer the questions and be ready to review with the class in about 15 minutes.